Hello everybody, my name is Jordan. This is going to be episode 4 in my Learning Rhythm series. This episode could honestly stand as a standalone episode because today we're just going to be practicing learning rhythm. So if you're coming to this video and you already have a pretty good knowledge of how to count rhythms, the language I'm going to be using I covered in the first 3 videos in regards to Takadimi and how I count. So I do recommend reviewing those because it's an extremely helpful method. And if you're tuning in after watching the first 3 videos, thank you so much. We're not going to cover any new topics today. I recommend you kind of study this stuff and have a good understanding of how the Takadimi works, because it's just going to help so much. But in this episode, we're just going to go through some examples of real music, and I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible. So the very first one is from Beauty and the Beast, and the song is called Beauty and the Beast. So I'm going to be referencing my notes real quick. This is called a piano, vocal, guitar style of kind of notation. So the top line is for the vocalist or the lead instrumentalist. So say you're a violin player, you're playing along. Also, at the top of the page, you have guitar chords. So you can play along on your guitar if you want. And then the bottom 2 lines are for the piano player. So if we're just going to read through this note, we're in 4/4, so I'll give us a 4-beat count in. All we have is half notes, eighth notes, and it's just 2 bars. 1, 2, ready, go. Ta, ta-dee, ta-dee, ta, ta-dee, ta-dee. And if we wanted to say the words with it, we could just substitute that now that we kind of know how it goes. And we can just kind of keep track of the tas and toddies in our mind. 1, 2, ready, go. Time, song as old as rhyme. It's really small. Beauty and the Beast. Then we just end on the downbeat. Let's talk about that piano part. The top line is for the right hand. The bottom line is for the left hand, if you're not familiar with the grand staff. So let's just read them one at a time. The right hand, 1, 2, ready, go. Ta, toddy, toddy, ta, toddy, toddy. You can notice that there's multiple notes happening, but they still happen on the same beat in some instances. The left hand goes 1, 2, ready, go. Ta-dee, ta-dee, ta, ta, ta-dee, ta-dee, ta, ta. That easy. Man, something about approaching my 30s. LaCroix is so good. This isn't even a sponsorship, but I just drink LaCroix all day long now. I'm looking for a LaCroix endorsement here. All right, let's look at this next example. It's from Shrek the Musical. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix right now. It's got Sutton Foster and an incredible cast. The music's outstanding if you haven't seen it. The Shrek movie is really, really good, but this might even be better. So this is from the song Who I'd Be, which Shrek is kind of monologuing, and at the end, Donkey and Fiona join him. But we're just taking 2 measures of this song, and you'll notice it starts on the offbeat. So if we were to subdivide the 8th notes on the downbeat, so ta-dee, like that, notice there's a rest on the downbeat, so we just say D, ta-dee, D. See how we just take the ta out and it starts like that? You'll notice a lot of sung or vocal music starts like that because the singer takes a breath. D, D. So if we were to continue the rest of the measure, we'll just do it one time and then I'll help you break it down. 1, 2, ready, go. D, ta-dee, ta-dee, ta-dee. D, ta, D, me, D, ta, D, me. Ooh, that's kind of tricky. So you'll notice that, just say Takadimi, all 16th notes, but it's an 8th note to 2 16th notes. So we don't say taka, because there's no subdivision of that 8th note. So we just say ta, D, me. See how instead of taka, D, me, ta, D, me. We'll see an example of the taka D later, which is the opposite of that. And notice it does the same rhythm twice. So beats 1 and 2 are the same as beats 3 and 4. D, ta, D, me. D, ta, D, me, which is cool. A lot of times music will kind of repeat those themes so that us as the listener, we like feel the groove of that. D, da, dum, bum, bum, ba, dum. So you can see, and it's pretty much the same musical idea too. We have a D flat to an E flat, F, A, D, dum, ba, dum. And if I played it in the rhythms, D, da, da, dum, D, do, do, dum. Just like that. So let's do the whole thing. I'll play it on the piano while we count it. 1, 2, ready, go. D, ta, D, ta, D, ta, D, D, ta, D, me, D, ta, D, me. Let's try it with the words now. It's really small to read. Gosh. 1, 2, ready, go. With wits and perfect timing, I'd share my heart. I'd share the things I yearn and do it all. Sorry, it's a really, really good song, good movie. All right, let's move on to the next example. This is I See the Light from Tangled, which is another incredible movie if you haven't seen it. So this is just a piano version of it. So let's talk about the right hand first. we say ta D, but notice that D is a quarter note. So we hold it out for an extra eighth note. So we're kind of syncopating. Ta D. So we don't say anything on the next downbeat, but we go to 16th notes, which will be D mi. So notice that that's the back end of a takadimi. Instead of takadimi, we're just saying D mi. And you can see that that quarter note's taking up that first beat. So it's going to sound like this. Ta D, D mi, ta, and then we have a quarter note rest. And if you're familiar with the song, outside, looking in, off. So let's just try and read through the whole thing. That's the only really hard part of that whole part. 1, 2, ready, go. Ta D, D mi, ta, 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 D, ta, D, ta, ta. And let's try it again with the words. 1, 2, ready, go. Outside, looking in, all that time, never even knowing. Just like that. All right, let's talk about the left hand. Super easy. It's just ta-dees and tas. 1, 2, ready, go. Ta-dee, 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 ta. Ta-dee, 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 ta, ta. All right, this next example is called the Turkish March, which is a really famous Mozart piece if you've heard it. So it starts with a little bit of an upbeat, actually. You can see that there's one little thing all by itself. We can assume it happens on beat 4 because there's only one beat in that measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, da 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 da, and then that's beat 1. So let's just read the right hand real quick. All we really have is takadimis and tas with an eighth note rest after them. The tricky thing though, we're gonna start on beat 4, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, start. All right, let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3. Takadimi ta, takadimi ta, takadimi 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 ta, ta di. See how easy that is? That sounds like a really hard piece of music, but we just nailed that rhythm. It's all right on the beat. It's not too bad. You'll notice the left hand's all just ta-dees. 1, 2, ready, go. Ta-dee, 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 ta-dee. Super easy. This next is an excerpt from the Moonlight Sonata third movement, which you've probably heard. There we go. This is later on in the piece. And what we're going to do actually is, let's just start with the right hand. You'll see on beat 4, we have a dotted eighth note. For this, just think of takadimi, but we only have the ta and the mi. So takadimi, ta, mi, ta. And you kind of just attach that mi to the next downbeat almost. Let's just try and read it. We'll talk about it more afterwards. 1, 2, ready, go. Ta, 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 di, ta, mi, ta, di, ta. Mi ta di di ta di. That is a doozy, but Beethoven here did us the courtesy in that last measure to notice how he didn't put it as a quarter note. Those two eighth notes that are tied together show us clearly where beat 3 is. So really, imagine that tie wasn't there. We would just say ta di ta di. But since we tie it together on beat 3, we don't say anything. Di ta di, like that. So let's just look at that third measure. Beethoven and I will read it. We go ta di 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 ta di. Let's do it without that tie, and then we'll add the tie back in. Ta-di. Wait, without the tie, it would be ta-di, di, ta-di. Okay, I got you. Ta-di, di, ta-di, ta-di. But now, without the tie, that might have made it harder. Ta-di, di, di, ta-di. So, yeah, that is a pretty tough measure of music to read. Just try it along with me, see if you can get it. The first 2 measures are pretty easy. 1, 2, ready, go. Ta, ta, ta-di, ta, mi, ta. Ta, ta, di, ta, mi, ta, di, ta, di. Let's look at this bottom line. This is an Alberti baseline, which is really common in classical music, where we're just doing our 16th notes the whole time in whatever chord we're playing on. So let's just read the whole thing. 1, 2, ready, go. Takadimi, 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 tukadimi, tukadimi, takadimi, takadimi, threekadimi, takadimi, takadimi, takadimi. So what I just did was really messed with my mind for a second, but I sucked because I didn't expect to do it until I started. I just substituted beats, the downbeat in with a number to keep track of what measure we're on. So that's something that you can do in your mind, but at first it's hard to do. So when you have a lot of a repeated rhythm, that's a helpful trick to use. So 1, 2, ready, go. 1 kadimi, takadimi, 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 2 kadimi, takadimi, 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 3 kadimi, takadimi, takadimi, takadimi. Which I'm a percussionist, and a lot of time we have really repetitive stuff. So I will use that in my mind to help me keep track of measures and whatnot. This next one's from Everybody Wants to Be a Cat from Aristocats. And that's true, isn't it, Willow? Can you say anything? Say something, Willow. Usually she's a big meower. But for this one, notice we start on an offbeat again. And this time, where it says everything, we use a takadi. So we use, instead of takadimi, all right, you can go. Instead of takadimi, we're using the first 2 16th notes, and then we just have an 8th note. So instead of takadimi, taka-di-ta. That's how it'll feel. And we're starting on another offbeat. D, taka, di, ta, di, ta, di. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, ready, go. D, taka, di, ta, di, ta, di, ta. 2, 3. Ta, di, ta, ta, di, ta, ta, di. Let's try it with the words. 1. If I can read the words. 1, 2, ready, go. Because everything else is obsolete. On a square with a horn makes you. Yeah, really not too bad at all. Let's just try it one more time with the takadimi. I think you can get it. 1, 2, ready, go. D, takadi, ta, di, ta, di, ta. Ta, di, ta, ta, di, ta, ta, di. That's enough practice. I think that's enough for today. I know this stuff seems so hard at first. It's just like a language. If you want to learn how to speak Spanish, you just got to be in it every day. If you want to learn how to read, you got to do it every day. But now that you know how to read, it's easy. You don't even think about it. This is kind of the same exact thing as long as you're just practicing it. It might feel crazy at first. It might feel impossible. You just have to get a lot of reps. So watch this video again. Try and count through the rhythms. Listen to how I do it. Try and copy it a little bit. And I promise you soon you'll be at the point where you're kind of self-sufficient in these things. And also find really easy music and just practice using this ta-tas. I picked pretty hard music for this. But it's because while I'm here with you, I want to challenge you. And it's music that we're familiar with. We've heard it before. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found value in this video or you want me to make more practice videos where I kind of do it along with you, let me know. And just remember, the biggest things to remember this is tempo. Our tempo's consistent. And on every beat, there's a formula. And we just punch the formula in. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Joey and I will see you next time. And I hope you have a great day. Good luck with your practice.